right, welcome to week 6 of the foam terrestrial session. We're going to end the session on the Amy's ant, which we'll tie here in just a minute. Size hook I have in a vise is a size 8 hopper hook. These are probably most common on like 10s and 12s. I think I've seen them as small as size 14. It's a modern classic, and if you can often sell them with somewhat ease in September and October. The fly shops out in the western part of the states tend to run out of these patterns. It's a Jack Dennis pattern. He developed it for Idaho, I think, or Montana. So it's a really good fly, and it's very popular. So with that said, let's get cracking. I'm just going to use some Uni 8.0. You could absolutely upgrade the size of your thread here. But let's use 8.0 in black. 6.0 in brown is a pretty standard choice in thread. So I'm going to start my thread about a bodkin width behind the eye. And you can take that tag out when you're ready. And I want to have a nice underbody here. So touching turns, working your thread back to the bend. And we'll just stop right here at the barb. That's good. I'm going to go with a couple of the more popular color choices for the pattern, which is tan and brown. Now for the bottom color, it's usually the lighter of the colors, and you can just nip the tips off. I guess it should tell you how much you need. The one you want to have the foam about the gap of the hook, and just to make it easy, I've got it about twice the length. But you'll need to cut kind of a profile into the tail, and I'm actually just going to cut. I'm just going to cut a triangle into this. There we go. That'll work. And we want this sticking out just a little bit past the bend. I'm going to put 2 loose wraps over, pull tight, and then put another 5 or 6 nice and tight ones in. Kind of like so. And next, what we want to do is get some super glue. And we're going to super glue the shank where the thread is. Should not get in the eye there. Pull the foam down, and then we're going to, the way I think is the easiest is to just spiral wrap this forward so that as that glue's starting to dry, it's capturing your foam. And still got room for your head, so you want to stay about a bodkin width back. I find it to be the easiest. And then with a few passes back and forth, we're just going to start to lock all this foam into place. Okay. And I'll come trap a bunch of this down, and this should give us a nice solid body to start working with. Okay. Now we don't need this much because the head's only going to come out to here, but I just cut these pieces of foam at the same time, so we can actually go ahead and trim some of that out so it doesn't get in our way and still leave plenty of room for a head. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a fork into this tail. And to do that, I'm going to start by cutting straight up and then coming off of the sides, not the corner, or maybe just above that corner. To kind of get this shape in there. And then when I lay this on top, you'll be able to get this nice forked look coming through. Again, we'll do the same thing. A couple of loose wraps over, tighten, and then about 5 or 6 to hold that in place. All right. Next, I want to take my rubber legs. I'm just going to even the tips up on the one side. There you go. Create that loop, and then we'll cut the loop, and we're going to do this again. And this will help us not have to cut the legs down later, or if we need to, it'll be very minimal. These legs should be roughly 3/4 of the shank long. These ones are probably just a touch longer. I'll go ahead and, well, I'll cut them when I even them up in a minute. Okay. So I'll take the first set. These ones are pretty even. Okay. And I'm just going to loosely tie these on top with 2 wraps, and then I'll pull until I have an even amount off of each side. Place that one extra wrap in. Now I can pull my legs off to the sides. You want to try to keep it so that they stay up on the side and open. Now we're going to take all this and pull it back, and it's easiest if you have like a piece of wire or like a little hair clip to where you can kind of gather some of this and just get it out of your way. So the original called for like Estes or flash chenille for the underbody. We're going to do dubbing, so we won't add that. But at this point, we just want to spiral wrap our thread forward a little bit. We will come up here so we can get our hackle stem tied in. And for the hackle, any old saddle hackle will work. I've just kind of got a beige one here. I know that like a light dun color is real popular, similar to this, or you use grizzly, really whatever you got. I mean, if you're going to tighten different colors, you could, go purples and pinks or whatever you want to do. And so I'm just going to kind of line this out. So I've got some stem to tie down. We want to line these barbs up right at the end. It's kind of hard to do with that clip in the way, but so as we bring this back, that first wrap of hackle should be basically in tune with where the foam is. Okay, so next I'm going to get my dubbing. You can use any kind of dubbing. I'm going to use this Starburst Golden Peacock dubbing from Fly Tire's Dungeon. And dropping stuff there that I had it open and I didn't. I'll go ahead and wax my thread just a little bit. Okay. I've got a bit much dubbing, but it'll work. And we'll just start wrapping this forward until we get to about the 3/4 mark. We need that extra space for the head, the legs, the wing, underwing, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and stop right there. One thing I do like about this dubbing is that you can just tie it off and trim it. It's always a bonus. Okay, now we can go ahead and start to wrap our hackle. I try to get 1.5 to 2 full turns in the back. And again, it doesn't matter how long your barbs are here. I'm just going to palmer this forward, so I've got roughly a bodkin width in between the spacing. You can really determine how much of a space you want in your spacing here. It's not like a set number. It's really personal preference. I know I've seen some people use dry fly hackle and not trim it. If you do that, you just want to make sure that it's below or right at or below your hook point. Okay, tie that off real well. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to give all this hackle the buzz cut. We only need it just barely sticking up off the body. This just helps keep it disturbing the water a little bit. So we should have a fly that looks about like that. We can let go of our foam. And if you like, you can actually glue the foam here. It's up to you, so that it glues itself down to the back. And we'll go ahead and tie this in. Come forward a little bit, come back a little bit, and this will give us the room we need to set our wings. One they rolled on me. Now it doesn't want to stick out front at all. We can come back and fix that in a minute, I suppose. I'm trying to get it not to twist on me, but this one's just wanting to twist. That happens sometimes. Okay, so next we need the wing. The original pattern called for elk hair. You can use elk rump, deer. I'm going to use some shorter deer hair this time. We only want the wing to come right into this tail area right in here. So if you're going to use the elk rump, since it's much larger or longer, just keep that in mind or you'll have a stonefly imitation, which also is a good look. I got one here that I tied that I can show you, kind of for reference. But you want to clean and stack that hair real well. And we'll set it aside. I need to clean and stack that again, but clean it, stack it, set it aside. And we'll get the underwing ready. For the underwing, we're going to use Rainbow Crystal Flash. I'm going to take, I've got about 3 strands here. I'm just going to take and double over, put the loop into it, trim it out, make 2 even sides. We'll do that a few times. You can kind of determine how much you want here. I think the original had pearl crystal flash. So lay this right on top. Fold this over, tie it down. So if you have your crystal flash hanging out just past your foam, that's okay. You can actually have it sit a little shorter if you like. It's up to you. Try that stacking one more time. That's much better. Well, this deer hair might be a little short. So we want our wing to sit to about right there. We've got a couple short pieces. They're going to come out, I think. So you want to tie that down good? Yeah, just a couple. And then you can work your way through the hair by pulling the long fibers back and working your thread through there. And then you can work it back forward. Kind of like so. And now we can come in and trim this hair down. Now you have to admit it's easier if you just cut the front part of the hair to the length that you need. So the better you can get at doing that, the easier this will become, and it won't be quite as messy and all that. That's good, that'll work. And you can add a little bit of glue if you like on top, just to help keep all it tied down and tied in well. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, that'll work. A little too much on the base. A little too much glue on the base there, but that'll be okay. There's been worse ends in the world, that's for sure. Okay, now we got to cover this up. So to do that, we're going to get a little bit more of our dubbing. And I forgot to mention, you can actually use peacock herl for the dubbing, or I mean for the body if you'd like. Up front, since we're hiding all this, you're better off using a peacock type dubbing. Not actual peacock herl. Probably get a little fragile up here. Maybe a little bit difficult to put on. Okay. A few stragglers. Let's go ahead and take those out. Next, we're going to fold this over the top, just the brown one. And we're going to do a couple of loose wraps. Pull down, and then again we'll add 5 or 6 more. Nice and tight. I'm going to go ahead and trim this out. You can decide kind of how long you want this. I go either the same size as this little head that the dark brown head, or maybe a little bit bigger. And I just cut a triangle into this. But it's you can kind of shape this. You can just cut off the sides if you like, or whatever you like to do. Just gonna go like that. Come back to the front there in just a second. So now all we need is our second set of round rubber legs. Just place them right on top with a couple of loose wraps. Make sure they're even. Place that one extra one in before I drag them off to the side. Oh good, those front ones are sitting well. Those back ones don't want to sit right. which happens. Oh, trapped in there. There we go. And if you like, you can put just a little bit of glue on your thread and work it through, kind of like so. Now if you bring your thread across and up underneath to your eye, it'll kind of hide that extra thread wrap. You can go ahead and glue this shut right here in the back if you like, but I like to get some whip finishes in up under the eye, so just having a minimal crossing of the thread over the upper thorax area of the body is not a big deal. You can wet whip this if you like as well. Alright, and then just to finish it off, I'm going to shorten this just a tad. Then I'm going to go ahead and just lop off the corners, like so. Amy's ant. There you go. It's not terribly difficult. It's very similar to the hopper that we tied in many ways a few weeks back. I'll get rid of those ones that are just being wonky on me. So tie a few up. They work great in August, September, October when you've got the big, the big hoppers out and all that stuff. So, and it's really a modern day classic. So. Other than that, just take a quick minute and say thank you to everybody that has followed along throughout the session. It was a fun one. There was a few frustrating points with me as far as logistics were concerned in the beginning, so I appreciate you sticking that out and seeing that through with me. So appreciate that. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do yet for the next session. If you've got an idea of something you'd like to see, could be a material, could be a style, could be anything. I mean, drop a comment below, and we'll take a look at it, and maybe we can throw something. Maybe we can throw your suggestion into the mix. So make sure you do that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button. And other than that, it was great to see everybody throughout the session. If you found us on YouTube and you'd like to join the live classes, there you can find us over on Fly Tying for Beginners over on Facebook. And you can also come over to our new community, flyvault.net. It's got a social media aspect. The part that we're really excited about is we have we have it in place. We're working on the update at the moment, but we have a way for you to start uploading your flies digitally and put them into an archive for yourself and others to find. Whenever you'd like. It'll be it's a researchable archive. So you can find us over there. And other than that, everybody, happy tying. Take care. And we'll see you next session.